Well, I think that we here in the UK have probably seen the worst of the mixed messaging, and I think that flows from something that is affecting politics in many parts of the world, which is populism, the belief that actually you worry less about the facts than you do about the impression that you're trying to create amongst the public. And I do think that from the very start, when Boris Johnson wanted to kind of invoke a sense of British exceptionalism and then constantly saying, we'll get it done in a few weeks, we'll see it off by Christmas and then into Easter, and now we're into the third lockdown. And I think with other countries, every country in the world is having to deal with this. I think my sense is the ones that have done it best have been the ones that have really had two principles underpinning their approach. The first is absolute rigorous approach, understanding and appreciation of the importance of the facts and basing decisions on that. And the second is actually taking the public into their confidence about the difficult decisions they're having to make and the difficult choices they're facing. And, I think on both of those here in the UK, we've failed very, very badly. Because in democracies, you've seen this all over Europe. You have lots of scientists who, have got much experience, much knowledge, and they give their advice. But even within the scientific body that is advising different governments around Europe and the rest of the world, there will be differences of opinion. And ultimately, it is up to the politicians to make the political decisions. And I think, again, going back to the point I made earlier, what happened here, I think, in the UK, and I think I saw this elsewhere in different parts of Europe, is that, in a sense, being led by the science became the way that they justified doing things that were very difficult at the start. But then they got themselves into a position where it's almost like they couldn't just absorb the science, take account of the science, and then make the decisions. And when you have this conflict between a very fact-based approach from the scientific community and this populism that we're seeing infecting parts of the European body politic, and notably here in the UK and Poland and Hungary and other places where, frankly, they will take the bits they want to hear to tell the public what they think they want to hear. So literally 24 hours before the lockdown that was announced last night, Boris Johnson was basically suggesting there was something terribly wrong with us if we weren't sending our children back to school. A day later, the schools are shut. Why the change? Because the science has caught up with the populism. Look, it's very, very difficult, and I don't underestimate how difficult this is for any government. But when you say, how does the decision-making get made? Ultimately, in a crisis, it is one of those situations where the top person in government has to take control. So the reason why in something like foot and mouth, which was one of the worst crises we had, not on a par with what's happening with the pandemic, but it was very, very difficult. The Prime Minister has to step in, and there comes a point where he has to get a grip. And so you literally do have to grip all of the decision-making process, all of the facts, all of the science, and you then have to lead from the front. And I think that's what I think has been missing in certainly in the UK, and I think the other countries have done better, but ultimately, Germany, I would say Angela Merkel's leadership and the leadership of a lot of the 16 Länder has been good, but Germany's got a massive problem. So in the end, that's why I say it's about having the honest conversation with the public. The public will take an awful lot. We're seeing that again with the third lockdown today. The public will take it as long as the leaders are being honest about the decisions that they're making and the reasons behind them, and they're honest about the consequences of the choices that they're taking.